All right, folks, well, I normally do not like to have to chop down live trees, but this particular tree, number one, it is on my property. Number two, it's really just too close to my home, and you know, it's just a smaller tree overall in stature. So I'm just you know, going to do what I need to do as a homeowner. So I've got the TOPS Kage with me here, and we're going to give it a good shot the old-fashioned way, chopping down a tree with a short sword. I think I got it. Woo! All right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Alright folks, so I want to wrap up my testing and review video for the TOPS Knives USA C.U.M.A cage that I've got here. And this is in the short sword category, so this is definitely a first for me. I have a lot of large knives and I have several machetes, and this one, again, it's in a category of its own in the short sword because this is one serious chunk of steel. I'm just going to quickly run down the basic specifications, then I'll wrap up with my final thoughts, including what I really like about this and maybe a few things that I don't. So as for the total length, it's around 2 feet long. Blade length is around 15-16 inches. Got some really nice micarta slab scale handles on there, very comfortable. They are bolted down with some of the largest hardware I've ever seen TOPS knives use. Rock solid handle. I really like how the lanyard hole is set up. It got kind of a glass breaker on the end, on the pommel there, which is really neat. I think it looks great. Got a little bit of a guard for safety, which is also good to have on such a hefty blade like this. You definitely don't want to slip on this, and having just a little bit of a guard down there is definitely something that you want to have, and it's definitely to your benefit. Got a really nice fuller system set up here. It's 3 different length fullers on there, and I really like it. It looks awesome. It probably cuts down on the weight some, like all fullers tend to do, which is a good thing because this big old chunk of steel comes in around 2 pounds. So it's a pretty serious chunk of steel when it comes to weight. It's something that you definitely want to think about if you want to take this on a camping trip, or especially into the deep woods. You have to weigh your options. How it works with me and how I enjoyed it, anything I didn't like. First off, I want to say it was a little bit intimidating because, again, this is in a class of its own. It's not a machete. It's too thick to be a machete. It's around 1/4 inch thick, I believe. And then it's much larger than some of your long blade knives out there. So short sword, definitely a little bit new to me. Very very capable tool if you know what you're doing, but you definitely have to be more wary. If this short sword were to get away from you and hit you or someone else, it's going to do a lot of damage. So you really got to be mindful of your surroundings when you're using such a beastly heavy tool like this. And again, it was kind of new for me in that category, but I've really grown quite fond of this. It's, like I said, it's a very capable chopping tool, and it feels good to me. It's very comfortable. I like being able to get a good, powerful two-handed grip on this. I didn't do a whole lot of chopping with a single-handed grip, and honestly, I kind of wish I had done more, and I'll probably be doing some more of that in the future because it actually works pretty good just one-handed. But I was preferring to use 2 hands because it's just safer. I get a better, stronger grip on it. But I really like this short sword overall. Had a fantastic time with it. One thing to keep in mind that I won't say necessarily that I don't like, but it's something I had to get used to, is when you're striking with this, you tend to get a lot of vibrations on harder objects like thicker wood. Terrible. I mean, no, it's just something new to me since I haven't used anything quite like this before, but it's something that I had to get used to, and honestly at this point I'm kind of used to it, so it's not really a big deal. But there was definitely some vibration in there through the handle. Otherwise, is this for everybody out there? I would say no. I mean, there's some obvious reasons for that, but I would say, the practical reasons being, some folks, you may just never, want to take something like this out, whether it be hiking or camping, bushcraft type trip or adventure, because, it's very large and it's definitely got some weight to it. But as for me, I will probably try to take this out on some sort of adventure and see how it does. You're obviously going to have a companion knife or companion knives to this, because this is not going to be your meal prep tool. I mean, you could try. I don't think it'll be very safe to do that, but hey, it's just, to each their own. That's my thoughts on it. So I personally really enjoyed this. It worked for me. Not for everyone, but it's aesthetically pleasing. I really love the design. It was by Wace and Johnny Ty. He did a fantastic job. It looks awesome and performed very well. It's pretty neat also with that little, the belly on the end of the blade. A lot of the chopping power that I was getting was just right where the belly meets where the blade is straight there. And I gotta say, you get some pretty pretty serious hits in with this bad boy, especially with your two hands. I really like the sheath for the Kuma cage here. It is made out of Kydex. It's very well form fitted. It looks great. Of course, you know, made more awesome with the tactical paint job I've got here, and it's set up for a dangler system. This is also a dangler that was made for me by Spirit of the Bear Design. Like I said, overall, it's form fitted very well. It works great with the short sword here. Now, as my good friend over in the UK, Adrian, he was talking to me about the sheath, and he was talking about the retention on the actual knife, and it's good. I would say it might be considered almost a little loose to some folks out there. Now, it's good in the sense that you can get a really good, quick, fast draw. But one thing to keep in mind, since this cage is on the heavy side, around 2 pounds, is it's got a lot of weight in the handle, so it can actually, in my opinion, might be a safety issue there without having some sort of a strap or, you know, something to make sure, you know, the knife doesn't go slinging out. For example, I'll show you something that could happen. I'm going to do this as safely as possible, but if you were to fall down or something like that and, you know, go forward, check this out. So, okay, so just with a little bit of weight and inertia, I was able to send the cage out. Now, is that, you know, a deal breaker? I say absolutely not, because that's something that you could, you know, you could solve on your own. I would say probably the best option is an extra safety strap. So please, if you enjoyed the video, hey, give me a thumbs up. If you could comment, I'd love to read that and get back with you. And also, if you're not a subscriber, hey, please do that as well, so you can be updated about future uploads. So thank you for your time.